What's up, guys? I'm back. Now time for my predictions for YCS Kansas City. I just talked about why I think Tour Guide and Rescue Rabbit are, in fact, overrated cards. But now I want to talk to you about what I think are going to be the three best decks at this event. I'm not going to give you the three decks I think are most likely to win. I'm just going to give you my three picks for this. First pick is going to be pretty obvious. It's definitely going to be Plants. I don't like this deck at all, really. I like playing Plants when there was more originality to it and there were a lot more tech choices. Now Plants has just become this, there's just this kind of skeleton that you really need to follow. I think it's kind of funny that with Toronto, a lot of players were using they came to the relatively the same conclusion about what cards should be used, like throwing in Thunder King, and a greater emphasis on, and definitely trying to fit in Max C into the mix. But I also feel like most deck builds are just very, very similar, and they don't. When I feel like I'm playing Plants, regardless of the tech choices, I still feel like I'm playing Plants or Synchro Summon, whatever you want to call it. However, regardless of my thoughts towards the deck, it's still a very good deck, and it's still going to do well this meta, just because of its popularity, and also because of the fact that it's legitimately a good deck. So yeah, let's move on from there. The second deck that I wanted to pick, I was honestly not sure what I wanted to choose because, it's hard to come up to figure out with these builds. However, this time around, really thinking about it, and thinking of in terms of the meta decks, I pretty much figured, the next most successful deck would probably have to be Dark World. I know that sounds really weird saying this for this event, but yeah, I don't know. I honestly feel like Dark Worlds are going to just have this kind of upswing through this event. I feel like people aren't going to be as prepared for it this time around, and that's why I think they're going to kind of approach it with less fear, and they're not going to be as prepared for when Dark Worlds kind of strike. That and Dark Smog really is a game-changing card for this deck. It gives them a discard outlet and a way of dealing with a lot of decks in the meta. So I think that's going to be very beneficial to them now that they have it, especially if Plants are going to remain as popular as they've been over the past two YCSs. I don't think the deck is all that good, though. I just think that the deck, for some part of me, feels like it just has a much better shot at doing well this time around. So for that reason, I'm picking Dark World as one of my picks. And the third and final pick, I can't tell you how long it took me to figure this out, because, really, there wasn't anything that kind of stood out. I don't think Rescue Rabbit decks are going to be one of the more successful decks, and I don't think it's going to win. I just don't think the deck is that good. Some people will disagree with me because we have Dolka, that now the deck has a lot more force within it, but I'm sorry, I still have my beliefs towards the deck remain the same. So the third deck that I was really thinking about, in terms of just a deck, I thought something that might come out out of this meta was really, Tech Genus. I know that sounds like a weird prediction, but really, TG Stun, in my opinion, is still a very viable deck, and it's, in spite of the fact that it doesn't have a good matchup against Dark World, I think Tyler Nolan showed us that the deck is still a force to be reckoned with, to say the least. We're going to see how well it actually does. This is just my thoughts on it, but honestly, just TGs are very good. Skill Drain is a very good deck against a very good card against a lot of these decks, and for that reason, I see it being a really big, a real, I feel like this deck is just going to be prepared for the meta. That's what I'm trying to say. We will see what happens with it, but it's just my thoughts on it. If in terms of how popular, I think Plant Synchro or Synchro Summon, it'll probably take up at least a third of the top 32 spots, but at the same time, I'm really hoping I'm wrong. Because there are a lot of other decks that I think have a good shot. Karakuris are one. I say Karakuri just because it's a good deck, but I don't think it has as good of a shot as other decks. but it definitely will continue to see some popularity. Lightsworn / Twilight decks, some people are still a fan of them, might try to, I don't know, who knows at this point. Heroes, I don't know. I'm waiting for someone to come up with a hero deck that kind of takes the meta by storm, kind of like the one I'm running, which I will do a deck profile of in the near future. Once I have a finalized build of it, then I'll show it to you guys. But there's a lot of real potential. So that's why I'm hoping that it works. That we see some some non-synchro summon victories, I guess. Yeah, I'm kind of starting to ramble, but that's pretty much it. Again, we will see what happens. I don't know what's gonna. I don't know. Tell me in the comments what you guys think is gonna win, or better yet, what are the decks that you expect to be most successful at this event. And for anyone who's saying, because GB's top had that one top last time in Columbus, they'll do better this time. No, they won't. The deck is not very consistent, and even with some of the very good builds that are being made, they still don't quite compete with the other decks. The problem is the fact of the matter is, if they can't remove, is their matchup against Dark Worlds, if they can't deal with the Grapha and prevent it from coming out, then they're pretty much screwed. So yeah, that's part of it. It can be a challenge. All right, yeah, I'm just gonna end it off here. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see what happens this weekend, and then I'll be talking about you guys about it. I'll be talking about it probably beginning of next week. So peace.